battery, fungi, things like that. Get a gallon of compost tea and you put it all back. I mean, 5 minutes later you can have all the life back in the soil that was there to begin with. Yeah. We're going to talk more about that next week when we start talking about the actual planting. But in the planting phase, again, that's a very important consideration if you do want to get smart and have less grass and, you know, more room for trees and shrubs and flowers and things like that. And again, the solarizing works a lot better in the summer than it does in the winter. So if you know now that you want to get rid of grass, but you don't plan to do your landscaping project until fall, go ahead and solarize them now, because this is the most effective time of year. Yes, ma'am. I would pick it up and get some moisture underneath it. If the soil was moist when you put the plastic down, you're probably okay. But as dry as it is, a lot of grass is in a semi-dormant state just from the drought, which means that the solarizing is not going to be nearly as effective against it. Yes?
What do we want to keep some areas of grass and it's very packed down?
Okay, question if you want to keep some areas of grass and it's very packed down. Two things you can do. One is this product called Medina Plus, not a fertilizer, but it is a soil softener. Use it about once a month or so. First couple of months you'll see no change whatsoever. After several months your soil will be much, much softer. Stuart Frankie that owns Medina, he told me to never say this on the air, so I don't ever say it more than once or twice a week. But the original Medina soil activator they're selling to farmers whose soils were so hard that it was just very hard to plow them. After several years of application, he said they've got a lot of places where the soil is so soft their equipment's bogging down into the soil and people are not buying it anymore. But Medina Plus takes time, but it will work. The thing is compost. Compost is the best natural soil softener. I would not put it on in the heat of the summer over living grass because it will cause some yellowing. But sorry, you probably heard me tell I was planting fruit trees one year. Like in October, I knew I wouldn't get my fruit trees until January. And that soil was so hard, it was hard to break it with the digging clod. Everywhere I wanted to put a fruit tree, I went out and dumped 3 wheelbarrow loads of compost. I didn't even water it, and it was dry and hot. In January, when I went back, raked the compost back, I literally could dig that ground with a spoon. Compost is an incredible soil softener. And if you are, you know, building a home, or if you're planning now for beds and things in the future, go ahead and put your compost on now. It will go to work softening the soil underneath it. But if your grass is really compact, wait till fall to do it, because compost
in the fall, like late fall?
As soon as it cools down, as soon as we're out of the 80s and 90s, especially out of the 90s, I should say. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I have a sort of general and related specific question having to do with like the changes in the weather that we're experiencing and how to sort of, you know, you can't plan for that because there's things you can do and like.
There are things to do. The question is anticipating things that may change. In this case, water table changing and water becoming saltier. Of course, you know, changes in temperature. We're in a very warm cycle right now. I'm not going to get into whether we're causing it. I don't think we're causing it. We probably are contributing to it. But the best way to deal with change is stay organic. Again, a highly organic soil having a little salty water, there are things that will naturally take care of the excess sodium. It will not be nearly as much of a problem except on sensitive plants. Hard soil, the reason your soil got so hard is because you use chemical fertilizers on it over the year and bake the organic material out of it. And other than lots of compost, other than staying organic, I don't know a whole lot to tell you to do about changes in water. What's that?
She's never done anything but organic. And at first they had bad soil and then she built it up and it was really good for a while and then this problem came up.
You know, it may get to the point that you have to use a filter or a conditioner of some sort. Obviously, you don't ever want to use a water softener with sodium salt in it, which is what most of them, what you buy because it's cheap, because that's just putting more sodium in. But if you get a water softener that uses potassium instead of sodium, you'll clean the water up. And there are various kinds of filters that will take that out that aren't terribly expensive, and that may be what you end up doing if you you know, are going to use plants that are sodium sensitive. If I were living in an area and I knew that I was going to have an increasing sodium problem, I would plant salt-tolerant plants. I go down to Rockport or Port Aransas or Brownsville or whatever, and there are a lot of really salt-tolerant plants. Pittosporum, St. Augustine grass, many of the viburnums. There are a lot of plants that tolerate sodium without any problem. But if it were important to me to grow sodium-sensitive plants like garden plants, and I'd probably be looking at some sort of conditioner, and I would absolutely stay 100% organic and things like that. As far as, you know, changes in temperature, you know, it's just, life is a gamble. You know, Mr. Fanek, the old man, Eddie Fanek, had two signs that I love up in his nursery. Certainly I wasn't around when he started the nursery, but one of them said, plant life is not guaranteed, nor is human life, nor any other life on this planet. His other one, out by his pecan trees, said, pecans are difficult to transplant and some losses should be expected. You know, we are in a very warm cycle, but the year we opened the nursery was 1983, when it went to about 5 degrees and stayed there for, you know, a week. And everything died. Oak trees we had in containers died. A few things did. The Akubas did, things like that. But we haven't had a cold winter in almost 20 years. And as a result, everybody's growing Esperanza, Bougainvilleas, hibiscus. If we get a really, really cold winter, those plants are dead. So what do? You start over. Again, when we had that freeze in '83, we lost virtually every plant in the nursery. Wasn't a lot of fun, but, you know, we got through it. Sometimes it's a blessing because people have planted all the wrong plants, and something needs to go through and kill them all off so you can do what you're doing today, and that is planting and starting to plant the right thing. So, you know, again, I'll talk more about this next week when we talk about plant selection, but don't be lured by the Sunday supplements and all the things like this. And when you're looking at something in there that sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. And if you've never seen one of those plants in this area, you weren't the first one that saw that ad. If they grew here, somebody would already have it. Nothing wrong with experimenting, but don't go and fall for these ads for the, quote, off trees that grow 40 feet a year or whatever else. Everybody plants them, then everybody cuts them down. So, long answer to a short question, but chemical change is tough to deal with, but again, for your basic landscaping, if you anticipate changes to water quality, plant things that will tolerate that. The thing that everyone should anticipate in this area is not change in water quality, but change in water availability. And, you know, the basic xeriscape idea is great. It does not mean a cactus garden. It means stay organic in your fertilizers and your soil conditioners. It means plant plants, for the most part, that are adaptable to dry conditions once they are mature. It means using mulch. It means watering with watering equipment that makes large droplets and keeps it low to the ground. There are a lot of things, even some of the best xeriscape yards around don't have any special plants in them, and they're certainly not cactus-type plants. Just to give you 3 or 4 examples of plants, there's big, beautiful vitex here in the parking lot. We've got one of those, or 2 of those, planted in front of our greenhouse in the hill country. They're big, huge, full of flowers, green plants. I haven't watered them in about 8 years. Talk about a small, beautiful tree, a catalpa. Here's one right there that would rather be in the ground. A couple of Antonio, going out 281, there's an old, I still call them diamond shamrock, a bolero there, but it's got 2 big bushy trees out there that are covered with pink flowers about half the summer, and everybody wants to know what that is. That's Catalpa. My Catalpa at the greenhouse is in absolutely full bloom. Must have 10,000 flowers on it right now. It's been that way for 6 weeks. When was the last time I watered it? 4 years ago, maybe? I've got Pittosporum outside my back door that I water once or twice a year if it needs it. I've got boxwood and Nandine out front that gets watered once or twice a year. You know, anticipate water deficiencies, we should say, in the future. But if you choose your plant material correctly, which we're going to talk about next week, you know, being able to water less should not really be a severe concern. The thing that's going to need more water than anything else is your grass. So what do? Like I say, we have very little grass in the yard, unless you want ornamental grasses and things like that. What else do I want to tell you about basic design? Keep color in mind. Just